Welcome to another episode of Let's Be Frank. It's not just any episode, however, it's a special episode in conjunction with Bucks Museum. Now, Bucks Museum are running a project called Bucks Heroes, where they are collecting stories for their oral histories project, the theme of which is overcoming challenges and inspiring others. Under that umbrella, today we speak to Emma, who runs the mindfulness and yoga sessions every Monday at the Oasis studio in Chesham High Street. In a shameless Star Wars link, we have the Master and Apprentice today. Emma Hudson, who provides the sessions for us, and Billy, a mindfulness practitioner, which is a posh way of saying that Billy goes to the sessions. Yeah. Before the main event, our regular listeners will know we like to warm up our guests with a quick fire Q&A. So are you both ready?
I think so.
They're both looking at me with fear in their eyes. So are you ready? We'll start with you, Billy, and then we'll go to Emma. Okay. So each question. So favourite sandwich?
Favourite sandwich? So I'm going to be controversial here and say I don't really like sandwiches.
Oh.
I know that's not a great one.
That's an answer.
Is that an acceptable
You can
answer?
have that. Do you eat baguettes or wraps or anything like that?
Like a French
French
stick,
yeah, what are you going for with that? What's inside your French stick?
I'm a bit of a child, I suppose. I quite like chocolate spread. Or jam, maybe. Like Nutella.
Yeah,
okay.
Nutella.
Yeah, I mean,
Nutella.
it's a vice.
Emma, you can't say cheese or something.
No, I'd be this is very yogic. A falafel wrap.
Falafel, yeah.
Or hummus. Yeah, hummus and falafel wrap.
Have you seen that programme, This Country, on BBC? The mum's got a Bristol accent and they just make her say falafel all the time. Falafel.
No,
She's got falafel.
Sounds like a pirate.
Your favourite pizza topping? What are you having? We'll go Billy first.
So I like ham and pineapple. I'm a pineapple guy.
Man.
Yeah,
you go against the grain.
That is controversial as well.
Yeah, it is very, especially with Italians. They don't like pineapple anywhere near the pizza, do they?
Oh, okay. So I'm chili.
And
I love anchovies.
Chili and anchovies.
Interesting.
I'm normally the person that scrapes them off. What is the scariest animal?
Scariest animal? I'd definitely say I've seen some deep sea fish. They look absolutely horrific. You know, the ones that never see the light, they sort of have these horrible kind of genetic adaptations. They've got like horrible teeth and little weird eyes, and they're multicoloured or whatever. They're very strange.
Okay. For me, ridiculous, but it would be a spider.
Spider? You're not a fan of the spiders, no?
I'm really, really trying to
work
love
on
them.
that.
But
you know the key to spiders, and what I don't like wasps either, but I had to get into the headspace of zero tolerance. If you see it, you have to kill it. I know it's not very yogic, is it? But I know spiders and wasps. I can't relax until I.
No.
I take a very laissez-faire approach to it. I just let them get on with their business.
At this point, I lost my guests.
Well, perhaps.
Apples or oranges, Billy? What are we going for?
I don't like oranges.
Yeah, apples.
Double apples. Tea or coffee?
I don't drink either. Really, green tea at a push.
Green tea.
Yeah.
Crisps or cake?
Probably cake.
Probably cake. What? Depends whether you're on a savoury or a sweet cake.
It does actually. Yeah, true.
At a push, what are you going for? You're losing one forever and you're keeping one. Crisps or cake?
It's got to be. I think cake is quite versatile. That's the thing.
Cats or dogs?
I find appealing features in both of them.
What an answer that is. Can you follow that up?
No.
What he said, yeah. What he said. Window seat or aisle seat?
Window seat.
Aisle, purely because I always like to be near the toilet.
Oh.
So an aisle seat, but I do like looking out the window.
Easy access to the toilet. Have you ever asked somebody for their autograph?
I think I must have done.
Who was it and how did it play out?
Oh God, I went to, when I was at school, we went to see a theatre performance in the West End. I think it must have been Lion King or something. I think we all got autographs from them, so I don't know whether I asked. Very cool. But we did receive them.
That big person in your life you never knew
who I've since forgotten the name of, and they've probably faded into obscurity. But it's somewhere. I've got that.
Have you got an autograph book with one autograph in it?
No, I don't have a book. No.
Emma, have you ever asked anyone for their autograph?
Well, do you know what? I have. So many years ago, so this will be a bit aging, there was a chap that used to sing called Val Doonican.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
He was a guitar, and he used to sit on a rocking chair.
Yeah.
And he used to live not far from the family home. And so one day I walked to his house and I knocked on his door and said, can I have your Val?
In a seamless link, the first ever band I was in, the guitar player, his dad was Val Doonican's musical director. So he used to write all the songs and record all the songs with Val Doonican. So yeah, they lived in Amersham initially, and we got to record on the desk which Val Doonican used to make his songs on. Stuff. Have you ever asked someone out on a date and they said no? And how did you play it when they said no?
I don't know if I have, actually. Which is an incredibly boring answer to give.
Yeah.
I will have to think about that.
Can you remember?
No.
Actually, no, I must have. I think I asked a girl to prom.
Yeah.
And that was a no.
Oh,
No,
really?
Did you do the Charlie Brown walk where you were like down,
dragging my hands?
Dragging your hands. Yeah.
Yeah. Not so much. No, not really. Pretty good with rejection.
No?
I have
You're 100% record. Everyone you ask says yes. And
yeah, everyone's just instantly. They can't help themselves.
From the sublime to the ridiculous, what do you hope happens when we die?
Oh.
Not that that's ridiculous.
It's not. It's very existential. Yeah. What would I like to have happened?
Yeah. To have happened, that's past tense as well, Billy.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a strange one, isn't it?
Are you a vampire? You come back.
Maybe. Yeah. This is where I'm coming out as a
Jon Snow from Game of Thrones.
Someone reincarnated. I think it would probably be best if we just ceased.
Yeah.
And that sounds quite
stopped.
Bleak.
I always like the thought of your consciousness when you die being reborn into another little baby, just like a little
reincarnation.
And you just go, and there's a baby born somewhere, and you're like your consciousness is looking for a new vessel, and die in one body, and then you're reborn as a little baby somewhere.
I think in a sense we all, whether we believe in something beyond this or not, we all reincarnate in a kind of physical way, because our bodies, even if they're cremated, sort of.
That's right.
Go back to the earth.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
We are.
And I guess it's quite an egotistical thing for you to the whole universe exists, but you're so special that your consciousness is going to live on.
Yes, that's right.
It's a bit egotistical, isn't it? Really, I suppose. Emma, have you anything to add on that?
No, that's spot on for me. That would be just my.
So from the end of your life to the beginning of your life, what's your earliest memory? Can you remember your earliest memory?
I've got a lot of memories of playing video games when I was younger.
Yeah.
I think I spent a lot of time doing that. That says a lot about the generation I was in, though.
Have you got any memories of being a little baby? Any young toddler? No?
I would say earliest would be school,
School.
Yeah.
I think that was one of my earliest memories. I remember my sister, I must have been about 4, and my sister just started nursery or whatever, and then taking this photo at the end of school and then plonking my sister on me, and I was like, what the hell is this? This is my big moment to take a photo.
Why are you robbing my glory?
And you can see like the photo, we've still got it, like me pushing her away kind of thing, like pushing her off the edge of my knee. Favourite taste?
Ooh. The taste of my mother's chicken casserole. Which is a strange one.
A good
one.
Perfect answer, yeah.
That's a good one.
Is yours going to be his mum's chicken casserole?
Yeah, my mum's chicken casserole. There'd be a lot of questions asked if that were the answer.
I would say a really, really good green tea, but it's got to be, and the first one in the morning, but it's got to be a good one.
Yeah, not just one of these boxed ones, like a proper.
No, it's got to have that particularly
fresh
green
from
taste.
India, proper decent one. Favourite smell?
There's a detergent my mum uses, which is quite nice. Quite like that.
Favourite smell? Don't know.
Smell of a Christmas tree.
Any flowers or trees or incense or burny things or candles? No, nothing you like.
Vanilla.
Vanilla
candle.
Vanilla candle. There
If
you
I
go.
go for a candle, it would have to be vanilla. Yeah.
What is your favourite sound?
Do you know, I quite enjoy the sound of other people talking when I'm in bed.
Like a murmur.
And that's very
somewhere.
specific, but like a white noise, sort of murmury.
Well, similar to listening to the rain, isn't it? If you're undercover, listening to the rain, that's quite a nice sound, isn't it?
Securing, it feels comforting.
Have you ever seen the programme Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I've not.
No.
He said he was sitting there reading his newspaper outside, and he said to his wife, somebody said to me once, what would it be like if you never heard the birds singing anymore? And he just ruffles his paper and he goes, I wouldn't be that bothered. Nothing to miss to me. I wouldn't be that bothered. Some people like the sound of birds, don't they? But
some
you don't notice them, do you? I live next to a railway track, and when I first moved in, it was like rattling past all the time, but now I don't even hear it. And when I have guests around and stuff, they're like, how do you sleep with that? I was like, you don't even hear it. It's just like white noise in the background now. What is your favourite word to pronunciate? I always like baboon. It's a nice word to say, baboon. It's very expressive and nice to say, it, baboon.
The first word that came to my head was oxyronicus.
Oh,
there you go.
What does it mean?
Which I couldn't give you a dictionary definition for. I know it from the name of an artwork that an artist that I like painted. or a series of works, I think, she painted.
Oxyronicus, nearly. I butchered that, didn't I, there?
Discombobulate.
Oh,
discombobulate.
Discombobulation. Discombobulation, and we can add the ION as well. What is the most used app on your phone that isn't social media?
I might have to check my phone, actually.
So what's your go-to when you open it up in the morning? What app do you open up first?
Not
social media. Yeah. Any useful
my
tools?
Insight timer.
Your Insight timer.
So my meditation timer.
Billy, what you got?
I was going to say probably Google Calendar, which is sort of quite boring, sort of productive.
Absolutely.
App.
If you could go back in history and witness a famous moment in time, what would it be and why? What's always intrigued you or piqued your interest as to what really happened as to...
I think, I've got a few really. I suppose one of them would be the moment in which the founding fathers, they're at a meeting discussing sort of the relationship to Britain, and drafted the Declaration of Independence. That would be quite interesting.
Yeah, to be there. I guess they didn't realise what a big moment that was at the time, did they either? They were just like in a room making a list kind of thing.
I'd always liked to have seen Edward VIII when he abdicated. That just held to me history around all of that, because he was so, he married a divorcee, and it was so everybody was
controversial.
So shocked. And then he abdicated. I'd love to have been around to gossip about all of that.
Yeah, I wonder all the gossip in the background, how it was all going to play out and stuff like that.
And what people were thinking of her and him.
Yeah.
Interesting to know what they'd be talking about as well, because obviously they're sort of deeply controversial people.
Yeah.
Even at the time,
It's kind of deeply romantic, I guess, to give up all that for love, isn't it?
The love of his...
Yeah.
And
it is in a
sense.
sense.
Of his life.
And then you sort of learn more about the man himself, and his relationship to power and certain conversations that he had with members of the Nazi Party.
Oh, that's right. They were.
He was a particularly interesting figure in history.
Yes. Right. Which 5 guests would you invite to a dream dinner party? So I'm going to give you some subheadings. A funny one, first of all. Who's your funny man? What comedians or funny person do you like? Who's coming to your dinner party?
Do you remember John Sessions?
Yes.
So I helped stop him smoking.
Yeah.
So now he's a smoking cessation therapist, and he was the most entertaining, funny man, the most funniest man I've ever met.
Yeah.
And when he left, I always thought if I ever could invite him to dinner, I would have him round my table.
John Sessions is in.
So sadly, he died just a few years ago.
Yeah.
But he's,
Billy, who's your funny man?
I was just Googling. There was a man who did, who did a number of shows. He did the news. Is it the News Today? He did all these sort of satirical comedies in the format of news programs. I can't remember his name is for the life of me, but he wrote The Four Lions as well. He directed that, the comedy film. But he's such an absurdist. I think he'd be a hilarious person to have.
Next one, a clever or interesting one, maybe a philosopher or a philanthropist. I can never say that.
A philosopher. So there's a Buddhist philosopher called Nagarjuna.
Yeah,
Nagarjuna. He was around the 3rd, 4th century, and he studied emptiness. What is emptiness?
Yeah.
And if I could
pick his brains.
Yeah.
I always thought Alan Watts would be quite good when to get in. He'd keep the conversation flowing most of the night, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
A philosopher or a philanthropist?
Philosopher. There was a Martinician philosopher called Edouard Glissant, who was pretty much one of the most interesting people, kind of post-colonial philosopher in the Caribbean. Very interesting guy, very poetic writings.
Keep the conversation going.
He would, he certainly would. Albeit in French.
Yes, you have to learn French first. I can't. That was awful at French. A singer or an artist?
Artist in terms of visual artist?
Yeah, no, it's
musical artist.
Musical artist. Who's going to play the guitar in the corner for you, basically, or the piano? Who's keeping you entertained when you're having your philosophical conversations?
Oh gosh. I would say Billy Joel, just on the piano.
Yeah, it'd be good, wouldn't he? He would be good. He would be good in the corner, wouldn't he, on the old piano? Yeah.
Nice.
Are you inviting Bowie or?
Yeah, Bowie or McCartney.
It'd be good when you're on the piano, and all his stories and stuff. He'd bring the stories as well, and the Beatles stories to the table.
Or if you wanted a more mellow evening, someone like Teddy Wilson on the piano.
One of your jazz guys. A sports star or an inspirational person? Is there anyone that really inspires you in sports or other areas of life, which you would, again, like to pick their brains to find out what drove them, what motivated them?
That's a really good question, actually.
It's good, isn't it?
I mean,
a sports person.
I'd say probably one of my biggest influences. That's not a word. Influences. Probably W.E.B. Du Bois. Kind of the African American, first black Harvard graduate.
Oh wow.
Doctorate type thing. Really interesting guy. Deeply inspiring.
Yeah.
He sort of was able to navigate an environment that was radically against him and still excel in spite of that. Yeah.
Who inspires you, Emma?
Who inspires?
Apart from your husband, of course.
Of course,
naturally.
Goes without saying. I would suggest Ruby Wax.
Right.
I'd like to be in her company. I have been in her company, and she's completely manic. But she is a massive inspiration to me, and she inspired me to do my degree, my university degree.
Yeah, she's written a number of books on mental health and well-being, hasn't she? And the last one, a bit of eye candy. Who's just at the end of the table looking dumb, but you know, a bit of eye candy for you to get you through the meal.
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt. That's a hard one, actually. I don't know. I might have to come back to that one. I don't know off the top of my head. I feel like I'm going to think about it quite a lot.
You can pass,
Might have to pass that one.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Right, we're nearing the end of the quick fire. It's not very quick, is it?
We've been very slow.
What are your ambitions for the next 10 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years' time?
Alive.
Alive.
What an answer that is,
I think so.
Both of you alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going with alive?
I think so, yeah.
What 3 pieces of advice would you give the 20-year-old you if you could go back in time and say...
my goodness, at 20. My advice to myself would be, Emma, you really are loved. Just take life a bit slower. It will be all right. Everything will be okay.
Yeah. I think that's pretty good advice for a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only 25, so I don't really have that much. I don't really have very much advice for that, but there's a few quotes that I quite like. There was one quote by Rainer Maria Rilke, which is "Kein Gefühl ist das Vernast," which is "just keep going, no feeling is final." I quite liked that.
That is good, isn't it? Yeah.
I think it's quite a good quote.
Yeah, I like that.
There's a number of quotes on failure, I suppose, which are quite valuable ones to have as well. Yeah, just take it slow. You can afford to lose a day, you know.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Absolutely, you can. Yeah.
And off the back of that question, do you think the 20-year-old you would respect the person you've become today? Obviously, that's a bit easier for Emma than
perhaps
5 years ago.
Still 5 years ago.
Yeah, massively. Massively. My 20-year-old would be, hats off to you, girl.
I think it's harder because I don't think I was necessarily that sensible when I was that age. It was when I was 20. I think I would respect a lot of parts about who I am now. Yeah. Not entirely.
That's a good sign, What one thing did you enjoy doing most as a child that you no longer do, and why do you no longer do it? Is there a thing that you thought, this is my passion in life, whether it be riding a horse, playing tennis or something, that for one day when you were a kid you just did it for the last time, and then for life got in the way and you never ended up doing it again, and you think, actually I really enjoyed that, why do I not do that anymore? Is there anything that springs to mind?
Quite a few things, I think. I think netball.
Yeah.
I used to love netball.
Yeah. And then for whatever reasons, one day you played netball and never went back.
Never played it again.
There's loads of netball teams around here, remember?
There is, and it's always on the back of my mind to think, actually, that's something because being quite small, you could, you could
wing attack and centre and all that jazz. Yeah,
enjoy that.
Do it.
And the other thing that is a passion of mine, and that I really need to pick it up again, is the piano.
Awesome! I'll have to get you involved in the jamming group.
Well, it was classical. I was classically trained, and I got to kind of 18, 19, and I was kind of grade 5 going, and then it was just boys came along.
That was the same with me at football. When you discover women and drinking, you'd lose about 10 years in the next 10, 15 years of your life, don't you?
Do a bit.
Mad, isn't it? What phrase or saying would you want used on your headstone to best summarise your life? Have you got a quirky little phrase or a saying that you always think that strikes as a perfect summary of me, and I'd quite like that to represent me for eternity? And that's the last question.
For eternity?
Yeah.
Is there such thing as eternity? Is the question that I would pose back to you.
That was the next question, Billy.
Yeah. He lived. That would be it. Just he lived.
He lived.
Yeah.
There's a lovely quote that I'm using quite a lot at the moment with my teaching. That is, meditation, it's not what you think.
That is good. That's a good one, for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So now that Q&A section's out the way and you've worked up your mind, it's like your little warm up to get you going, get the old the grey matter turning. It leads us on to what we're here for today. So we're talking about all things mindful. So now, as someone that's never done mindfulness before, well, not consciously, you have a blank canvas to educate me as you educate our listeners as well. Okay. So first up is the golden question: what is mindfulness and what does it mean to you, Emma? We'll start.
Okay, so mindfulness. It's just paying attention. It's just all you've got to do is pay attention to what you are doing right now. So it's 100% whatever you're doing. That's kind of brushing your teeth, or walking down the high street, or having a conversation, or having confrontation, or feeling stressed or sad, or whatever you're feeling. You're just giving it, or whatever you're doing, you're just giving it 100% attention.
Moving away from autopilot and your subconscious and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense to me. So I kind of do that most of the time anyway, so I'm on a good start there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've got these questions from a Q&A on a Mindfulness Association page. So I wouldn't have come up with this one myself, but it obviously gets asked to you quite a lot, maybe, Emma. Is mindfulness a religious practice?
Oh, no.
No.
Without a doubt, no.
Yes, it's certainly not.
I think the reason it's on there so that you could address that and say that you don't have to be religious to get involved in mindfulness. Billy, what is mindfulness to you and what does it mean to you?
I was talking to Emma earlier about, for me, mindfulness is a way to both sort of reckon with how you're feeling, having an awareness of how you're feeling, being in tune with yourself and your actions. But also it's a sort of respite, I think, as well. It can be very confrontational at times, but I think that mindfulness is a tool or a practice in which one can find some sort of seclusion and sort of serenity in a world which is often not that.
I was just going to say, is it a tool that you can use? So that's good that you clarified that. What is the difference between mindfulness and meditation? I guess you get asked that quite a lot as well.
Yeah.
So mindfulness it's a meditation. So if you've got how I describe it is, if you've got an umbrella, a mindfulness umbrella, meditation is sitting underneath that. So meditation is your formal practice of mindfulness. You wanted the mindfulness umbrella, you'd have yoga. So mindfulness, I see the mindfulness as your informal practice. So your informal practice is, as we say, just being mindful of. I say just, it takes a lot of practice.
It is.
To be mindful of, when you're communicating, when you're doing something, and then being mindful of feelings and emotions and all of that. That's your informal mindfulness practice. And then you've got your formal practice of meditation where you're sitting every morning. And I say sit, you can lay down and meditate, or you could walk and meditate, you could stand and meditate. But, I choose to sit. So your formal practice is sitting on a cushion and you're just... Being.
Yeah. I used to do a meditation called Isha Kriya, and it's similar to what you were saying there. So the principle behind that is that your mind is your imagination, and your I've got to get this right here, I'm going to paraphrase it badly. So your past is just memories, and the future is your imagination, and that you have to bring yourself into the here and now.
That's
those two don't.
That's it.
You can't do anything about what's happened in the past or in the future. You need to focus exactly where you are. In the here and now. How did you discover mindfulness? We'll go around both of you here. So Emma, first of all, how did you discover mindfulness?
I discovered mindfulness through training to be a yoga teacher. So I was training. I was looking for somebody to train me to teach, and I came across a chap called Daizan Skinner, and he's a Zen master. And he'd come from Japan, having spent 20 odd years in a monastery, and he came to the UK to teach Zen yoga. So I was taught by him to train to teach yoga, but he taught me then how to meditate, and then taught me about mindfulness and meditation. Then it taught me how to teach.
Awesome.
So he's a big influence in my life, and still is. That's
naturally,
who I train with.
And Billy, how did you discover mindfulness?
I think I've always been sort of inclined to mindfulness. I've always been sort of attracted to the idea of it, at least the idea of sort of having some ability to rectify your thoughts. So I've naturally always had that interest. So I did practice. I did have a formal practice for a while. And then eventually, I think I found an 8-week course with you, didn't I? And then did the 8-week course, and then just for probably a year now, or a year and a half or something, we've been doing the discussion group, which has really helped as well.
Yeah, what happens in the discussion group? I know it's really popular with people that visit us here. So, can you give sort of a brief sort of summary of what happens in the discussion group? Yeah,
so it depends who's coming, who's around the table, really. But I try to come with a topic.
Yep.
So maybe we're looking at. So this week we're going to be looking at mindfulness techniques to help criticism. So when we're feeling we're being criticised, how can we use mindful techniques to take it, to accept it, to because you want to confront it, so it would be something like that, or sometimes stress, anxiety, depression we'll cover. I do. What's worked really beautifully just recently is I've got an envelope and put loads of questions in the envelope.
That has been good.
Pull one out,
like what is playing on your mind at the moment? Is there something in your life that you could deal with differently? Is there somebody that you need to forgive right now? And that's worked really well.
Opens up a discussion.
It does open up discussion.
And everyone else reflects the situation the other people are talking about, and you get a nice discussion out of it. That sounds really interesting. What are the benefits of mindfulness? That's my next question. If you were someone listening who doesn't understand a lot about it, or wants to get involved in it, or wants to come and get involved.
So the benefits they're just massive. So what my experience are, they're massive. If you're experiencing any kind of anxiety, stress, low mood, depression, if you have a very, very busy mind, and you're finding that mind is controlling you and it's keeping you awake, and you're just struggling with thoughts, mindfulness can just help put a distance between you and those thoughts. So it can just help, just makes you feel more in control, just
attune to yourself.
You get to know you and who you really are, and not
It's perhaps worth mentioning as well that it's not a prescription, it's not a medication you can take and it will fix you. It's something that needs to be practiced, and it's, as with anything, it sort of depends on an individual circumstance.
Like watering a plant, I guess, isn't it, to make it grow?
Quite,
dip in and out and stop. Okay. How can mindfulness help people in their day-to-day life? Can you give a couple of examples that people could easily sort of understand how mindfulness could work for them? Is there anything that you sort of use examples-wise that people could dip their toe in easily and understand it from?
So what I often, when you're first, looking at mindfulness, and maybe you're looking at anger or stress, and you find that you react quite a lot. So I would just keep it really simple, and maybe when you're next in Sainsbury's and you're queuing and the person in front of you is taking an age, and you can feel in your body that you're starting to get angry, to get frustrated, I would suggest then start using mindfulness then. So you're going to turn towards those feelings, and you're going to try and respond to them rather than react
to them.
So taking some deep breaths, bringing your attention into the soles of your feet, looking at the person in front of you, and maybe getting an idea of, why are they taking so long? Maybe, this is the only person that they're speaking to today, is the person that's serving them, so offering maybe a little bit of empathy. And why am I feeling frustrated? Maybe, if I'm honest with myself, I haven't given myself enough time to do this shop. Yeah. So maybe a part of that is a bit of me.
That's perfect.
Is a bit of me.
I'd mirror that. I'd say that I've become, and I've had people say that I've become significantly more compassionate and empathetic and patient since I've been practicing it.
That's fabulous. It's lovely when other people start to recognise
it is,
then your practice is good.
That must be great for you to hear as well, Emma.
It is.
From Billy, who's been coming. The positive impact that's had on him. What can people expect when they turn up to a mindfulness session so they don't feel daunted? Or
with us?
Just with you, with you guys too.
Just that everybody's just going to meet you where you are, It's a very open group, isn't it? It's very caring group. It's very honest. There's no judgment. You can I have some people that will come to the table and they just don't say anything.
Oftentimes.
But they leave saying thank you so much. I got so much out of that. So you can come and you can just sit and not say anything and you won't be judged on that, or you can come and you can open your heart and you can let it all out, and it's a very safe place that we create. And we have a kind of I can't remember what I call it,
a contract
that we read through. So we're agreeing that everything that is said in this room stays in the
goes
room.
in tour, stays on tour.
It's a very safe place.
Awesome. So people can get involved as much or as little as they want, but they're still welcome to come along.
You can just drop in. That's the beauty of it, really.
A nice safe space where people can talk about stuff that's bothering them. How long does mindfulness take? How long are your sessions?
So the discussion group is it starts at 1 and then we wrap up about 2:45. And
that's a Monday, isn't it? 1 o'clock on a Monday.
We have a meditation.
But you don't have to stay for the entirety of it.
No. You don't have to stay for the whole thing. You can just, drop in, drop out.
Drop out when you're ready. How often do you use the tools you learn in mindfulness sessions? I guess that's a question more for Billy.
For me.
Yeah.
I think that within my daily life, within an informal practice, I mean, the things that we discuss, the ways that we think, and often in a discussion group, we discuss specific things that are bothering us in our lives. So I think I often apply what we talk about from the group into that, but pretty much all the time, I'd say.
And from your point of view, Emma, do you still notice that you're implementing the skills, or are you kind of on autopilot now?
No. Every moment I'm using them. If anything, I think I become. The more you do it, the more aware you become.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
And you just have to keep doing it. It's like going to the gym. You have to keep on top of it, otherwise it will drop away.
Next question: how do you know if it's working? Is there an answer you give to when people say to you, "How do I know if it's working?"
That's a good question.
We normally say awareness. Awareness sort of is a prerequisite for changing behaviours or changing.
If you're aware,
your thoughts.
you're implementing the skills because you're thinking about.
And this is what the mindfulness won't give to you, but this is what you can cultivate: is awareness.
My experience is if you start to like yourself. You're doing good.
You're doing good.
You're doing mindfulness.
That's a great way.
Yeah.
How can people find out more? Do you have a website or social media that you want to plug, Emma?
I do have a website, although it needs updating. So that's emmanzen.uk. That'll get you onto the website. Facebook page, again, I don't really use the Facebook page, but that's Emmanzen. But mostly, just drop in here.
Really, so people can also inquire via the Oasis website, which is www.oasispartnership.org, and we can put you in contact with Emma direct if you're interested in coming to some mindfulness sessions. Is there anything that you think we haven't covered? A little teaser for someone to get them involved, or any questions you can think of which people normally ask you about mindfulness when you mention that you practice it?
I would say my advice would be, if you think you're too busy for mindfulness, then come along.
Yeah.
Perfect way to end it. Thank you for your time today, guys, and we're going to get you back to do our 3 for Freedom section, which regular listeners will know, where we get you to come up with a book, a movie, or an album or song or artist that inspired you during the following period of your life, your childhood, as a teenager and as an adult. So we'll get you guys back in to do your 3 for Freedom sections if you want to, of course, which is always good fun. But thank you for your time today, and I've learned a lot about mindfulness, and I'm sure the people listening have as well. So thank you for your time today, and goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, goodbye. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
The Let's Be Frank podcast is brought to you by the Oasis Partnership, a charity providing high-quality social and psychological support services to improve people's mental health and well-being. We deliver socially inclusive, open-access support for the wider communities of Buckinghamshire through pioneering and innovative partnerships and initiatives. Oasis provides free and subsidised health and well-being classes and support groups for the Chiltern area, including mindfulness, yoga, art, and music. Oasis also helps support people to reach their full potential through our substance misuse treatment service, Routes to Work and outreach service. The Oasis Substance Misuse Treatment Service is provided in partnership with Inclusion, part of Midlands Partnership NHS Foundation Trust, delivering 1 recovery bucks. The Let's Be Frank podcast was launched in tribute to the memory of long-term Oasis patron and world-renowned cinematographer Frank Hodge, and is recorded in the Frank Hodge Podcast Studio, our new community podcasting facility launched in his honour.